that has hosted us so brilliantly over the past couple of days, and really a place that South Africa has very good memories. A good morning to you and welcome to our final live broadcast from England's second city as we broadcast on our ABSA Red Bus, a partner of Barclays. It's great to be in your company on this Monday morning. Lots to speak about when it comes to the Rugby World Cup. Those good feelings for South African supporters continue even into the week ahead as we look forward to that Scotland match in Newcastle. Lots to speak about the Rugby World Cup as well as the results over the past weekend. But first, let's start with our news. Wales are considering citing England flanker Tom Wood after his stray boot struck Welsh fullback Liam Williams on the head during their 28-25 Rugby World Cup win at Twickenham. Williams will go through concussion protocols, having been carried off on a stretcher following the incident, which could add to Wales's long list of injuries. Argentina will be without key lock Mariano Galarza, who lost his appeal against a 9-week suspension for eye gouging an opponent during the Pumas' opening Pool C game against New Zealand. No World Cup for him. Galarza is suspended until the 26th of November. Some results from yesterday. Australia running in 11 tries against Uruguay. Australia recording a 65-3 victory over the South Americans. It bodes well for them in the pool of death, Pool A. What's awaiting Australia? Well, they still got a clash against England, who are bloodied and bruised after Saturday, as well as a mega clash against the Welsh. Another result from yesterday is Scotland. This is one that applies to South Africa in Pool B. Scotland beating the USA 39-16. Importantly, Scotland getting a bonus try there, so they go back to the top of a Pool B. And the other match was Ireland up against Romania, and it was a much changed team, the Irish, that took on the Romanians. They also secured a bonus point victory there, 44 points to 10. The biggest news, however, coming from England yesterday was most definitely from the Springbok camp, and that was the international retirement of South Africa's second most capped Springbok captain, Jean de Villiers, calling a day on his career. Our camp correspondent Simon Burke finds out more.
It was on the 3.5-hour train ride into Newcastle that the news first broke that Jean de Villiers' World Cup dreams were over. And then, at the hotel, with the Tyne Bridge in the background, he called time on his South African career.
What is the perfect ending? You know, how do you end on your own terms? And I suppose to be able to win the World Cup and then finish it off like Oosterhuis did, you know, that's a perfect world, but you don't have that choice. You don't know how it's going to work out. And I think being able to do it with so many of my friends and being able to do it probably in the, you know, as I said, the toughest week of my rugby career, and then being able to get through that, get a win and finish it off like that, you know, I'll take that. I'll take that. I think that the people that you do it with makes it worthwhile, and it's never easy. You know, I would love to play for the Springboks again, but I won't get that opportunity again. And that's just life. I had 109 times to do that, and you know, I'm happy with that.
There was, however, some good news coming out of the Springbok camp on Sunday. Dr. Craig Roberts is quietly hopeful that Jannie du Plessis with his knee and Damian Delendi with his knee will be fit for Saturday. He's also got high hopes for Jesse Creel, who sustained a facial injury. I'm Simon Burke, bringing you the latest from the Springbok camp.
What a man, what a captain. He won the Players' Player of the Year award in 2008 and two-time South African Player of the Year for South African Rugby. He really has had great service for the country over 13 years as a Springbok. And thank you very much to Jean de Villiers for all that he's given to South African rugby, despite his many blighted Rugby World Cup campaigns over the years. Tributes have been pouring in on Twitter. Piers Spies saying, well done, Jean de Villiers, respect, great player, amazing person, an incredible leader. He gave his all. There was also a tribute coming from our Minister of Sport and Recreation. He said, with Jean de Villiers, South Africa had one of the world's best captain, a patriot and a true warrior. We salute. And that was just his tweet. He actually also posted a full press release on what he had to say. Butch James said, JDV, what a legend. Devastated to hear he's out of the Rugby World Cup. All South Africa will miss seeing him out on the field. Yeah, I think that sums it all up. We certainly will miss him, but in that press conference he did say he doesn't want anybody to feel sorry for him. He wants the team to focus on the next job at hand, and it is going to be a tough one. It's Scotland in Newcastle at St James's Park this coming weekend. We're going to be making our way up to Newcastle in our ABSA Red bus. Before we do, we're going to have a stop in Leeds as well as Manchester. So we look forward to bringing you those stories from those wonderful cities that await. But first, let's wrap up what's been happening here in Birmingham. I had a visit to the Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery, and what a place it is. Not only are they celebrating their 130th year anniversary, but it is an absolute treat to go and visit.
Birmingham Museums Trust looks after the collections that belong to the city and people of Birmingham. It's an incredibly wide-ranging collection, so it covers fine and decorative arts, but also history, archaeology, science and industry. So it's incredibly wide-ranging, incredibly rich in terms of what we own. And we tell the story of the history of Birmingham, but we also have world-class collections that really relate to all parts of the world. One of our mission statements is that we reflect Birmingham to the world and the world to Birmingham. So it's about that kind of dialogue really between local people and the whole kind of global picture. And we very much try and connect with all of our communities locally and to reflect their interests and their cultures within the collections and programmes that we have here. A lot of our collection did come from people who were collecting in Birmingham. So when the museum was first set up in the 1880s, people locally really wanted to kind of support their local museum. And we had a very dynamic curator early on called Whitworth Wallace, and he encouraged people to donate their works to the museum. So very early on we had this very rich collection of Pre-Raphaelite art. The area that I specialise in is really 19th century painting, and particularly the work of the Pre-Raphaelites, who were a group of young radical British artists who started working together in London in 1848, and they really changed the whole course of British art. I'm standing in front of one of the most famous paintings in our collection. It's by Ford Madox Brown. It's called, as you say, The Last of England, and it's probably one of the best known paintings in our collection. And I think it's really because it touches on really universal ideas, the idea of family, the idea of home, and the kind of fear of the unknown as well. So this is a picture that touched on issues that were very contemporary when Brown painted it in the early 1850s. This, as far as we know, is the world's largest watercolour. If anybody knows of a larger one, we'd certainly like to know. This was painted by Edward Burne-Jones, who was a Birmingham-born artist, and it was actually made by him for this museum and for the town of Birmingham in 1885. We have about 1 million visitors a year to our 9 sites. So we have the museum itself, and then we also have our collection centre, and we have a number of historic houses across the city as well.
Welcome back to the ABSA Red Bus, a partner of Barclays, as we come to you from a very quiet Birmingham fan zone. So Villa Park wasn't the only piece of ground in Birmingham that saw lots of Rugby World Cup action over this past weekend. It may be very quiet now, but over this weekend they saw hundreds of thousands of people pass through the gates. It's now my pleasure to introduce our guest this morning. He's BBC sports editor for the Midlands, Nick Clitheroe. Very good morning to you and welcome to Morning Live.
Morning, Vaylen.
Okay, so I mean, this fan park has been absolutely brilliant. I think it's exceeded expectations over this past weekend, hasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, they had 20,000 people on the Saturday alone at various different times during the day, 7,000 plus to watch the England-Wales game alone, and it's been a massive success, as has the Rugby World Cup in Birmingham completely.
Have you been quite surprised at how people in Birmingham and other towns around the Midlands have actually caught on to the Rugby World Cup fever?
I think it's been one of those things you just didn't know in advance what it was going to be like, but I hate to say it, but that Japanese victory over South Africa really got people talking about the World Cup because the pictures were amazing, everybody saw them on the television, and from that point on everyone's been talking about the Rugby World Cup. And of course in this country we love any kind of major sporting occasion, so as you've seen for yourself, the tickets have just sold out everywhere you go. And
the stadiums have been so full.
Absolutely. I mean, people just love, they can't get enough of top-level sport. We like to think of ourselves in Birmingham as a city of sport. We've hosted major sporting events over the years here, but this has been our first chance to host a Rugby World Cup, and we've just taken that opportunity and really grasped it.
It seems such a pity that they're only hosting 2 Rugby World Cup fixtures, however.
Yeah, it was slightly difficult because, of course, the football's Premier League season's underway here, and it was at Villa Park. Now, obviously, they were able to arrange the fixtures so that Aston Villa were away at Liverpool this weekend, so they could have the back-to-back matches. But Aston Villa will be home against Stoke City next weekend, and of course, they can't play any more Rugby World Cup games there.
As a sports editor, most of your sports pages and the interviews that you do are football-related. Do you believe that the Rugby World Cup will start to change the consciousness here in England a little bit?
That's certainly what people are going to hope for. They're going to hope that this is going to be carried forward. And actually, interestingly, what we've seen recently is that Wasps, a Premier team here, they've moved into playing in Coventry, and actually they were getting massive crowds because there is that interest in the sport. People want to go and see it live. It's a great live spectacle and a very welcoming game. I think people like the warm feeling from the crowd when they go along to matches.
Yeah, certainly do. It's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for coming in and
pleasure.
just sharing some of your thoughts with us. That's BBC sports editor for the Midlands. That's the region in which Birmingham, as well as rugby, actually falls. We're going to be travelling back to rugby on our journeys on our ABSO Red Bus over the next couple of weeks right here on Morning Live. It's time now to take a look at the fans' reactions to South Africa's victory over Samoa on Saturday to really just kickstart your Monday morning with that good feeling.
Amazing, phenomenal, brilliant.
First visit to a rugby game. I love rugby on TV, but now this is a new experience. They all told me I had to dress up like this to get in through the gates. I think it's amazing.
Come on, Bokke, we can make the next game!
Ik denk die beste was dat die mannen een slag weer bij elkaar gekomen het. No scruples, they played the best.
Everyone was expecting a great win, and I think they lived up to expectations, and we're all obviously clearly very happy. Yes.
It was a brilliant game. Coming back from last week's defeat to Japan, we played with heart, we played with complete passion, we came back and fought our way through.
And the words Bokke, Bokke, Bokke is something that we were even hearing yesterday morning right through to yesterday afternoon. What did the Springboks, however, have to say about South Africa's support and getting behind the team? Let's hear.
See today how much support can help a team, and yeah, it was outstanding. It was an amazing atmosphere today, and we just wanted everybody to stand behind us, support us. We got Scotland next week, and we need that support twice as we got today, and thank you very much to everybody that support us.
Dat is ongelooflijk. Het gevoel of ons op Nieuweland uitdraf. We staan onder baie selfde gevoel as Nieuweland. En ja, dat ons gevoel is 'n tuiswedstryd. Elke keer as ons 'n landbreek uit of iets is, dit is net geskreer en ongelooflike ondersteuning. So baie dankie vir die ondersteuning. Dit is ongelooflik.
Everyone was wearing a Bok jersey out there. We came out to support us in full force, and we really did want to make them proud today, and that's all that counted.
Natuurlijk altijd een groot eer om so baie ondersteuners te hê. Ons het uit die aard van die saak, ek was op die bank geweest. Toe ons op 'n stadium gaan langs die kant gehardloop om te gaan opwarm. Toe sê ek vir Lodewyk die Jager, dit voel soos 'n tuisgame wat ons speel. Waar die mense gecheer het en gesing het vir ons ongelooflik, en ek is so bly ons kon vir hulle trots maak vanaand.
Hierdie oorwinning is vir julle en hopelik kan ons nog verder in die wêreld gaan om julle almal trots te maak. Dankie vir die ondersteuning en laat julle saam ons volhard. Dit gaan vrugte afbring.
And so we conclude our show for this Monday morning. We'll meet you tomorrow where we will be in Leeds, which this past weekend hosted two very entertaining Rugby World Cup matches. So ABSO Red Bus moves from Birmingham, which has been just so good to us, as I have said previously on this morning show. Where's the next live action that you'll be able to see? Well, you'll be able to catch it on SABC tomorrow. It is Tonga up against Namibia. If you want to get the latest Rugby World Cup news sitting at the office, why not just log on to the SABC Sport website and you'll be able to catch it there. Otherwise, you'll be able to catch us same time, same place on Morning Live tomorrow, as we'll bring you another live edition of this Rugby World Cup update from Leeds. Until then, goodbye.